Exciting football game. Went down to the wire, as many of our games do. Credit Maryland, played hard, had opportunities early in the football game that got sort of squandered away for one reason or another. But we hung. We kept hanging in there. We said we needed to play through things, that this would be a game that would be an emotional swing at some points in the game, that we needed to respond and continue to stay driven from an energy perspective. When you look at the football game, two big drives at the end of the game, really actually to kick field goals, but two big drives when we needed them. And big plays by Jacob Hanasuk in the game. I thought that Trey Mosley with 8 catches responded. You know, we throw for a lot of yards, need to run for more, but we've got some different things going on the offensive line, you know, with some young freshmen that provided some different looks and things of that nature. So probably struggled with it when you watch the film a little bit. But some big plays by our receivers. Anthony Williams gets involved and has probably his biggest game as a Spartan thus far. On the defensive side of the ball, big stop at the end of the game, big fumble, caused fumble. I guess that would have been in the third quarter. I think in the third quarter or so, big fumble recovery. Big plays by them. Really accounted for their points. You know, with McFarland hitting a big one, and then Bemis hitting a big pass on a double move early in the first half. And then, you know, touchdown saving tackle, I think was by Xavier on McFarland again, and then we hold them and kick a field goal. So they were 1 out of 14, I guess, on third down. So we did do things very well there, won the possession time, but tight game, and program win, much like we talked about coming into the game, you know, that we had in 2012. Program win and opportunity to win 6 and move us forward. So we'll go bowling and we'll take it from there.
Mark, you did talk about that all week, the program win. Can you talk a little about the significance of giving the players hats today with that on the back of it?
Well, I think it's about a $4 hat. Okay, floppy thing, but I just felt like, hey, you need to have something to hang on to and point towards. They didn't get the hats till Friday, but we did that in 2012, and you know, hung that hat in my office up on where I put a bunch of stuff up there, and that hat had significance. That 12 hat had significance because it was a must type win. It was a must win. Sometimes when you get a must, when you're working for a must win, you press a little bit. And you know, we got it done in 12, and I thought that this was a must win for our football team and our program. Just to get back to 500. It's not been a especially enjoyable year, but it's been enjoyable being around our football team and our players. And I thought we needed to have that.
Mark, from here, Matt obviously has had his highs and lows, struggles this year, but he makes 4 field goals today with the 1 miss. But obviously, you can't put the ball in the end zone. You have to trust him. How much confidence did you have in him coming into this game, and what did today's performance show you about him moving forward?
You know, I've got as much confidence in him as he does in himself. He has tremendous confidence in himself. He's not going to be, just because he misses one, he doesn't get shaken. He stays the course, and you know, he comes with it the next kick. So he believes in himself very, very much. I appreciate that, and I want to echo that sentiment all the time. If you don't believe in your players, at any point, if you stop believing in your players, then I don't think you have any chance, to be quite honest with you. Because you have to instill belief in them, you have to raise them to a higher standard and help them overachieve. So, you know, Matt did an outstanding job. For the second one, you know, it was flat, but like he told me, well, hey, got it in, coach. And then the last one was, I believe, right down the middle, a great kick, and he had a couple other good kicks earlier in the first half. So, you know, he could hang. Same thing with, I thought, the work. He threw 2 interceptions. One was a great play by them. One was probably a bad throw. But, you know, I thought that he continued to push forward. And, you know, he throws for 340 yards, I guess. 342. So not an unproductive day. I'm sure he wishes he had some back, but not an unproductive day. And he made throws to a variety of people. So big job by Hartberger, averaging 47 yards a punt. He had the 1 return slightly, but still a great day by him and his punts, just 2 punts.
Mark Ritter, considering the way the middle of the season went and the losses piled up and the bye weeks in there made it seem even longer, It's getting the 6th win at this point, does it matter at all to you where this team's going at this point, and just simply get to that level? Do you care where?
No, I'll be excited to play. I think we'll play a Power 5 opponent, an opportunity to win 7, and and tilt the ledger this way a little bit. So be excited wherever we go. Every bowl experience we've had, every single bowl experience we've had has been a tremendous experience for our players, really for our fans, the ones that are there, and for our football program and team. They've all been positive experiences, and they've all helped us get better. And that's at the end of the day, we need to continue to work towards getting better.
Devontae, he's a guy that obviously started last week, and you said this week you
Yeah.
expect him to start. What is a short-term or long-term injury thing? Does that change your thought process on burning his red shirt?
It's a short-term, I think, injury, but he couldn't dress, he couldn't practice all week, and so probably would depend on a lot of things. Who else has the ability to play? We've been banged up. I think we have played 6 left tackles this year. So it's one of those type of things. So you just got to deal with it. But AJ Curry went the whole day today, so I would think if we could do that, I don't want to play for 2 plays, but if he plays for 30 plays, then that's another story. So we'll see where that brings us. We should get some guys back. I would hope that some of these guys that are injured would be able to get back. Certainly Darrell Stewart should be back. I'm not sure on Kevin Jarvis or not, possibly. Matt Allen could have played tonight. We held him out. Just felt like he wasn't quite ready, but he was suited up and could have played in an emergency situation. He would have been the 7th offensive tackle. So, got some guys banged up, but we'll get them back, and we should be as good as we've been in the bowl game in terms of from an injury perspective.
You're right. Usually we hear about motivation in these bowl games and everything. Was there a point this week where you could tell, okay, these guys are locked in, they're hearing the message, and everybody was on the same page in terms of wanting to play and wanting to extend the season?
Oh yeah, I think that our football team has been locked in ever since. We've been locked in all year. I've said that over and over to them. I've been very impressed in terms of how they've approached practice, how they've gotten ready for games, how we've come out in every football game. We've never come out flat. Now, we may fall down a little bit throughout the game, obviously, but at the beginning of the football games, we don't come out flat. We come out enthusiastic and energy. You got to maintain that through a game. And a football game is like this: a lot of ups and downs, and momentum changes, and emotional changes in those games. So you got to be able to withstand that and continue to push forward. But been very proud of them. I said that earlier. So they want to play in the bowl game, or we wouldn't have showed up. Played hard. I think we played hard. So that's as important as anything.
Mark, a couple questions. One, you played Brandon Wright, which is the 5th game for him. Wondering the decision about that and putting him in the same class with Elijah and Anthony potentially. And then just sort of for you, as you sort of measure a young guy's experience versus and what you want out of them and this experience at the end of this year in the field and then versus getting that extra year, how much debate there is with all of that?
Well, there's a lot of debate, but you always have the red shirt in your pocket if you don't red shirt. Right now, the reality of the situation, we have 3 freshman tailbacks, three freshman running backs. One tweaked his ankle, 24 tweaked his ankle, so he was about 70%. Anthony, he needs to be stronger at the point of attack, I think, in running the football. So, it wasn't a situation where we were coming into the game saying that hey, Brandon, you weren't going to play. I think that when you play a guy and you practice a guy and you're practicing him and he's getting reps, I mean, he took every rep this week in practice. He was very close to being the starter tonight. When you get to a point like that, you have to play guys and they have to be prepared to play. If you don't play them and you try and hang on to the red shirt, you don't know if somebody's going to get hurt next year, so it just sort of goes with it. But when you're practicing and you're up with the varsity, and you're wearing a green or a white shirt, and you're not on scout team, we expect you sort of to have to play in situations. And, don't want to burn guys' red shirts, but we're trying to win a football game too. And the bottom line is, can you help us win a football game now? And when you're talking about it's a program win, then it's a program win. It's a big it's a big ask, but there also, I think, is a gold bar on the side of every freshman that doesn't get redshirted. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the time, they're going to say, hey, were you redshirted your freshman year? No, I played as a true freshman. No, I played as a true freshman. They didn't redshirt me. And that's a status symbol, I believe. I think carry that forward.
Mark, in the last 8 games, you scored 1 touchdown in the third quarter coming out after making adjustments. How concerning is that to you as a head coach?
Well, anytime you don't score a bunch of points, it's concerning, but at the same time, you got to execute. You have to execute. I mean, you can't run an inside zone and turn a guy loose and make a tackle on the line of scrimmage. So, all I can tell you is that you can look at what we call and those type of things, but it's execution, it's repetition, it's a combination of a lot of different things, whether it's play call, execution, repetition, them making the good defensive call, them having the right call structurally, a mental error, a physical error, all of those things that are into it. So it's hard to sit there and say, hey, we didn't score points because of a coach not making the call. It's easy to sit there and say, why didn't he make the call? But it's a lot harder to sit there and say, okay, what happened? This game of football is as complex as you can make it, and it's as simple as you can make it. It's about moving that guy in front of you out of the way. It's about running and making the right cut. It's about the right call. So I'm not negating or not taking responsibility for that, but it's complete. Football is a team game. So for it to be a team game, everybody has to work on in the same way going forward together. That's all I can tell you. And when the play works, usually people say, run that play again. That worked. By the time you run it again, they got to defend it. And this is an excellent league, very high defined league, I think, that has excellent coaches. John Hook is an excellent defensive coordinator. He's been in the NFL for the last 15 years. People do their job, they do their work, they get themselves ready to play, and momentum swings in. So it's an emotional game, it's a physical game, it's an intellectual game. Probably why it's one of the most popular football, it's probably one of the most popular games in the country. But there's a lot of questions, and I can understand how everybody asks. I can understand that. But we need to do the very, very best we can.
One final one, Ron?
Mark, just the performance of Trey Mosley, a guy who didn't play until late in the season.
Had the same conversation with Trey. Same conversation about redshirting or not. Had the conversation with Devontae about it, and then he got hurt in practice. Guy makes 8 catches. I'm not sure how many he's got for the season right now, but he makes 8 catches in the game. He's an integral part. And so we tried early on when Darryl Stewart was still playing. We tried to hold the red shirt with him, but when Darryl went out, that sort of went out the door too. And so he's been playing, and he's getting 30, 35 plays a game. I'm not sure how many he played tonight, but he got 32 last week. Then you got to play. You play on.
But just the performance of it, Johnny.
Oh, I think he's a money player. Guy has great hands, great skill set. He is very level like this as a person. He doesn't get too high, too low. Very mature for a young freshman. Got things to work on, but he can catch the ball. He can catch the ball, and he's usually where he's supposed to be. So much of it always, when you have young players, the timing of everything on the outside also becomes a factor. Does the guy break his route off short? Does he break his route off long? What's the timing of everything? What's his split? All these different type of things. Where he's aligned? Is he aligned where he's supposed to be? We had like 5 misalignments today where guys aren't lined up in the right place. They got to move over to where they're supposed to be aligned. So, like I said, it's repetition.
All right.
That's all good? Thanks.